Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Horror Analysis with me, Drew. Um, I'm remaking this video today because I've had more computer problems and found out that one of my videos got erased. So I have to backtrack and remake this video. And it was made over a month ago, so I gotta remember what the heck was going on when I made the video. But I'm not making a video about making a video. I'm making this video because when I was away in February, it doesn't matter when, I went to England, and then when I was flying back, I was watching a movie on the plane. I was watching Man of Steel, the Superman reboot thing, which had problems. It was panned a lot and deserved to be panned somewhat. It was a cool movie. I don't know if I'd give it a recommendation, but I'd say it's a decent movie. But it did spark my brain. There's the Kryptonian technology and this Kryptonian special effects has a lot of this like bead stuff. Like the face comes out of the screen, but it looks like it reminded me most of the pin art that was around in the early 90s or late 80s. You know, you'd have like a square this big and you stick your face into it and you go, or actually you couldn't open your eyes, so you go, and like the pins, when you took the box away, you turned it around, you'd see your face going like that, but it was through pins. Or you'd put your hand in it and you'd get an imprint of your hand, and then you'd shake it out and do it again. I did lots of middle fingers because I was immature, but it was the early 90s, so it was supposed to be immature. But I also made stupid faces in the thing. So this is what it reminded me of. Lots of these liquid metal or beads and whatever metal things. Liquid Geo, I saw some special effect thing about how they did it, and the company called it Liquid Geo. And the face that came out and was talking to you, or was talking to Jor-El, Superman's father, named Kellex or Kellor, I also found in my research today, was made of this stuff. Now, the fight scene, one of the penultimate fight scenes, hence part of the problem with the movie, I have the pictures here. These are really bad pictures, but there's not a lot of pictures of this stuff. In the Indian Ocean, spoiler, sorry, skip ahead X number of seconds. I'll tell you how many number of seconds here. I'll do a little thing on the screen, however many seconds to skip ahead, or skip to whatever time. Okay, so, spoiler, in the Indian Ocean, the Kryptonian planet thing lands to start terraforming Earth into a new Krypton. So that the Earth humans would die and the Kryptonians would thrive. Now this thing, that little red splotch in the corner is Superman. This is probably a better picture. This is the bead, that circular thing behind Superman flying is where the beads fall out of, and they become these tentacle things. As I said, none of these pictures are very good, but there aren't any good pictures of this, stills of this. I think it's called the World Engine. It's something. And anyway, one of the fights is Superman has to fight this thing with the beads, and that become tentacles, become solid. And he could punch a tentacle, and the tentacle would shatter into 1,000 beads and then form right up into a tentacle again. Problematic for Superman, because he's fighting something that's like water. Actually, I didn't even think of the water things. You fight water, your arm goes right through it, and it smacks you in the head. There's water monsters and sort of things in actiony or fantastical movies. And this stuff that I keep thinking about today is usually actiony sci-fi or horror sci-fi or horror action more than it is horror itself. But I'll go on with it because it's a different type of fusion. Now, the types of fusion from Carroll, inside, outside, things are unclean or have a type of interstitiality is fusion type of interstitiality because it's both inside and outside. This is the Exorcist demon. This is the reason feces is unclean because it's outside of you, but it was inside of you. It's the interstitiality, and interstitiality is uncleanliness. Living dead. If a monster is both living and dead, it's unclean. It's interstitial because it's living, but it's dead. Insect human, like the fly, is interstitial because it's part human, part fly, or part insect. Flesh machine, the Borg is the easiest example I keep coming up with. Animate, inanimate, haunted houses is the example typically given. Animal human is the same as insect human. Have lobster men or crab men or snake people. And then this one that I'm thinking of is fluid, solid fluid. Now, this pops up a lot in action-y movies, or, as I mentioned when I just thought of it, the water thing, fighting water, in, like, fantastical movies. And it is interstitial. It is scary. In some cases, it wasn't scary in Man of Steel, but Man of Steel wasn't meaning it to be scary. It was meant to be dramatic or suspenseful. Threatening to Superman, not necessarily threatening in actuality. It's a different kind of fear. We worried about Superman, which is the problem. We didn't worry about Superman because he's Superman. The problem with the Superman movies that most critics point out is, where's the threat? The threat of Superman is pretty non-existent. He's Superman. So anyway, the threat to Superman in the scene was, this solid fluid thing. Okay, so but I thought after I watched the movie, I was like, okay, that was okay. I thought, oh wait, I remember that sort of thing going on before. Much better, actually. I thought of the T-1000 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day, also in the 90s. With Robert Patrick was the actor who played the T-1000, which scared the bejesus out of me when I was a kid. Partly because of Robert Patrick's, blank-faced acting. The special effects were fantastic too. The one that always got me the milk scene, if anybody knows it. Robert Patrick's T-1000 Terminator that goes back in time and tries to kill John Connor. He takes over a police officer, which is Robert Patrick, and kills him and emulates him. He's made of liquid steel. Not hot liquid steel, cold liquid steel for some reason or other. And he kills other people and sort of takes over has the option to turn into them. One of them is, this is a good, that's actually an action figure of him. One of them, the deaths, is he's puts his finger, turns it into a steel rod, and puts it through the guy's eye. This is the Robert Patrick, one of the scenes with the liquid steel showing when he was blasted in the face with a shotgun. One of the scenes, the creepiest one, was a lady talking on the phone. And she's saying, everything's fine, I'll talk to you later. Hangs up the phone. And you realize, uh-oh, she's actually been taken over. Because she has the arm turning into the liquid steel stuff, turning into a knife, and then the knife going through the other guy, through the milk carton as well, then through the back of the guy's head. And that always freaked me out. That was so disturbing. Still is, actually. That's a gotta hand it to I know him. I just went over him not too long ago in the Italy thing too. God, who's the director? I know who the director is. I'm going to try to look it up and then remember it halfway through. You watch. Yeah. James Cameron. I didn't think of it in time. I did look it up. James Cameron. Hot water. He's does suspenseful very well. Suspenseful. Yeah, that's just creepy. And then of course you have the action figure-y type thing, where the blades are out. So T-1000 was very frightening to me as a child. It's just cool now. I'm like, oh yeah. Body count. I want a high body count. But that, the liquid, it's solid fluid. Robert Patrick is liquid. He's fluid. But he can certainly become solid enough to pierce through the back of somebody's skull, through their mouth, or through their eye, into their brain. And then, of course, the ability to take over and become that person after the fact, after you kill them or before you kill them or whatever, is, you get the paranoia of who to trust because you don't know who to trust because it could be anybody. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I compared it, my notes, I compared the Superman thing to magnetic beads on steroids, which is true. This solid fluid thing, though, pardon me. Come on. Alright, this solid fluid thing though mostly in the realm of action horror or fantasy action, or just action movies in general. Sci-fi or fantasy action movies, obviously, because solid fluid doesn't exist really. Maybe it's plasmas. Yeah. Anyway, solid fluid doesn't exist in realistic action movies, but in sci-fi or in fantasy action movies, the water thing again, it does exist. But I think it also exists in true horror, in horror alone. I think this is what freaks me out so much about ghosts. I'm completely terrified of ghosts. It's well known. And people often ask me, why are you so scared of ghosts? When I'm not as scared as of other things. Now, I usually tell them that ghosts are vaporous. I have a chance of punching, a vampire or a werewolf in the face, or a zombie in the face. It won't do any good because they're obviously monsters, but at least, I gave it the shot. Ghosts, you punch, you don't connect with anything. It goes through them, and then they reform into ghost and get you, if they have the ability to get you. Ghosts that don't scare me are ghosts that don't have any ability to interact with the world. Odd Thomas ghosts from the Odd Thomas series. Besides the poltergeist, the one ghost that could interact with the world, which was a poltergeist, in 3, I think it was, and all he was able to do was ring a bell. Or maybe he did more, I don't remember. 3 was where I gave up on Odd Thomas series. 1 and 2, 1 was good, 2 was okay, 3 was alright, but I didn't want to go further down. It just kept dropping a little bit in my estimation. Dean Koontz, Odd Thomas. Check out the first one, but the ghosts aren't scary, because the ghosts don't have any interaction with the world, besides Odd Thomas. Odd Thomas is the only one that can see them. They don't speak, which is a nice touch, I like. And they don't move things about. John Silence's ghosts are the same way. John Silence by Blackwood, Algernon Blackwood. What I had mentioned before, when I was talking about, if I put this as video 10B, this isn't going to make any sense. If I put this as video 51, which I'm more than likely going to do, this will make sense, because I've already gone over Lovecraft. Lovecraft knocks John Silence stories. He likes Blackwood, but he doesn't like John Silence, because it's not scary. He's right. The ghosts in John Silence aren't scary. They don't really interact with the world. But the stories are good. They're good. They're fantastic stories. The malevolent, potent ghosts are what frighten me. The ones that were able to poltergeists in, if you take the word, noisy ghosts that are able to interact with the world, or if you want to do the difference between ghosts and poltergeists in Harry Potter series, that they use a good enough definition as anybody else. Ghosts are vaporous. Poltergeists are vaporous and non-vaporous, solid and fluid. They are able to go through walls and still able to attack attack you. If a ghost that's not a poltergeist attacks you, he's able to run through you and maybe scare you, and that's about it. The ghost train in Ghostbusters 2, or thousands of other examples. Ghosts that are able to interact with the world, those are what are frightening. They're solid and they're fluid. You punch them, it doesn't do any good, your arm goes straight through them, and then they kill you. Or torture you, or whatever. Lovecraft knocked John Silence. Harry Potter ghosts. Yeah. John Silence. Odd Thomas. Yeah. Odd Thomas is also is a John Silence of our day, which is kind of cool. I like that John Silence got updated and Dean Koontz did it. Props to Koontz. He's a great updater. In his first books of the series, his Frankenstein first book was good. I barely got through the trilogy though, and I stopped after the trilogy. I didn't go into 4 or 5. But yeah. So yeah. These are what I'm calling the new types of fusion. I'm adding solid fluid to the list, and I think since I had problems, I did have a lot of problems with Living Dead being fine for a type of interstitiality, fine for a type of fusion, but bad for a type of monsters. Maybe zombies, it doesn't fit for ghosts, because that's not what makes ghosts scary. What makes ghosts scary is solid fluid. It doesn't really even work for vampires or Frankenstein's monster. They have nothing to do with solid fluid, but that's for trying to get monsters. For trying to get fusion types, it's fine. For type of interstitiality, what's wrong with it? Where's the sense of wrongness in these things? Well, it's both living and dead works, especially for zombies. It doesn't really work for ghosts. Solid fluid works for ghosts. That's what really creeps me out. And it creeped me out about the T-1000. It didn't creep me out about Superman-y stuff, but the Superman stuff wasn't the aim to creep you out. It certainly could have if it were attacking humans as opposed to if the beady stuff was coming around going after people in the city, which it didn't. It was something else that was attacking people in the city. But the beady stuff was going after Superman. If the beady stuff was going after people, it would have been a lot more intimidating, a lot more frightening. It would have been horrific. The magnetic beads thing, or liquid geo is what the guy called it. Yeah. So this was a short video. I'm going to be going into non-narrative horror more. I've already done a video or two about that. But I wanted to stop and do this video on in between the sections when I finished our horror anthropology. But then I lost the video, so I had to do it over. So, folks, Thanks for watching. Um, yeah. I can't really tell you where I'm going next because I don't even know where I'm going to put this video. I might put it at 10B. I might put it at 51. But anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time on Horror Analysis. My name's Drew. Have a good night. Remember what the heck was going on when I made the video. But I'm not making a video about making a video. I'm making this video because when I was away in February, it doesn't matter when, I went to England, and then when I was flying back, I was watching a movie on the plane. I was watching Man of Steel, the Superman reboot thing, which had problems. It was Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Horror Analysis with me, Drew. I'm remaking this video today because I've had more computer problems and found out that one of my videos got erased. So I have to backtrack and remake this video. And it was made over a month ago, so I got a remember hand in it, and you get an imprint of your hand, and then you shake it out and do it again. I did lots of middle fingers because I was immature, but it was the early 90s, so it was supposed to be immature. But I also made stupid faces in the thing. So this is what it reminded me of. Lots of these liquid metal or beads and whatever metal things. Liquid Geo, I saw some special effect thing about how they did it, and the company called it Liquid Geo. It has a lot of this like bead stuff, like the face comes out of the screen, but it looks like it reminded me most of the pin art that was around in the early 90s or late 80s. You know, you'd have like a square this big, and you stick your face into it, and you go, or actually you couldn't open your eyes, so you go, and like the pins, when you took the box away, you turned it around, you'd see your face going like that, but it was through pins. Or you'd put your hand a lot, and deserved to be penned somewhat. It was a cool movie. I don't know if I'd give it a recommendation, but I'd say it's a decent movie. But it did spark my brain. There's the Kryptonian technology and this Kryptonian special effects